In today's political climate, the debate over socialism versus capitalism has become increasingly prominent. While socialism is often touted for its emphasis on equality and fairness, it also has a darker side that is often overlooked: authoritarianism. When socialism is adopted in its most extreme form, it can lead to a government that has complete control over its citizens, stifles dissent, and punishes those who disagree with its policies. This type of socialist authoritarianism can be just as dangerous as any other form of dictatorship or totalitarianism. Here, we will examine the dangers of socialist authoritarianism and its impact on societies that have adopted this ideology. We will discuss how socialist authoritarianism manifests in various countries and how it has led to human rights abuses and political oppression. We will also explore why socialist authoritarianism is often overlooked or excused by those who believe in the principles of socialism. Finally, we will consider how individuals can work to prevent the rise of socialist authoritarianism and promote democratic values. 1. Loss of individual freedoms. One of the significant dangers of socialism is the possibility of authoritarianism, which can lead to the loss of individual freedoms. Under socialist authoritarianism, the government has total control over the lives of its citizens, including their thoughts, actions, and values. Citizens are stripped of their individual rights, and any form of dissent is met with severe punishment. The state controls all aspects of society, including the economy, media, and education, which can be used to indoctrinate citizens with socialist ideology. This can lead to a dangerous cult of personality around the ruling party and its leaders, resulting in the suppression of opposing voices. The loss of individual freedoms is a fundamental threat to democracy and can lead to a decline in the quality of life for citizens. Therefore, it's essential to be wary of the dangers of socialism and authoritarianism and protect our individual freedoms. 2. Suppression of free speech. One of the dangers of socialist authoritarianism is the suppression of free speech. In socialist regimes, the government controls the media and censors any information that goes against their ideology. This limits the free flow of information and prevents citizens from having access to diverse perspectives and ideas. The authoritarian nature of socialism means that dissenting voices are often silenced and punished, leading to a culture of fear and self-censorship. The suppression of free speech is a hallmark of authoritarianism, and it is a key reason why socialist regimes are often criticized for their lack of democracy and human rights. In order to prevent the dangers of socialist authoritarianism, it is essential to protect and promote free speech and to ensure that all voices are heard, regardless of their political views. 3. Economic stagnation and decline. One of the most significant dangers of socialist authoritarianism is the potential for economic stagnation and decline. When government control over the economy is excessive, it can lead to inefficiencies, corruption, and lack of innovation. In a socialist system, the government owns and controls most industries, which can lead to a slow-moving bureaucracy that stifles growth and progress. Ultimately, this can lead to a decline in the quality of life for citizens, as well as a lack of opportunities for economic advancement. As a result, it is important to recognize the risks of socialism and authoritarianism and to promote policies that encourage free enterprise and competition. By doing so, we can ensure a thriving economy that benefits all members of society, rather than just those in power. 4. Centralized government control. One of the major dangers of socialist authoritarianism is the concept of centralized government control. Under socialism, the government has significant power over the economy and society as a whole. This means that the government can make decisions that significantly impact the lives of citizens without their input or consent. In extreme cases, this can lead to a complete erosion of individual freedoms and a lack of respect for human rights. In addition, a centralized government can become corrupt and use its power to benefit those in positions of authority rather than the people it is meant to serve. This creates an environment of authoritarianism in which the government has unchecked power to make decisions that can impact people's lives in significant ways. Thus, it is essential to remain vigilant to ensure that socialist policies do not lead to an erosion of individual freedoms and the rise of authoritarianism. 5. Corruption and bribery. One of the dangers of socialist authoritarianism is the widespread corruption and bribery that can occur within the government and other powerful institutions. In a socialist system, the government has complete control over the economy and the distribution of resources. This leaves room for corruption and bribery to occur as individuals seek to gain favor with those in power in order to secure better resources or opportunities. In an authoritarian regime, there is often little accountability or transparency, making it easier for corruption to flourish unchecked. The negative effects of corruption and bribery are numerous, including reduced economic growth, weakened public trust in institutions and government officials, and increased inequality as those with more resources are able to bribe their way to success. It is important to recognize and address the risks of corruption and bribery in any socialist authoritarian system to ensure the fair and equal distribution of resources and opportunities. 6. Violation of human rights. One of the dangers of socialism is the potential for authoritarianism and the violation of human rights. Socialist regimes throughout history have been known to suppress individual freedoms and restrict the rights of their citizens. In these societies, the government has complete control over people's lives, including their personal choices, beliefs, and actions. This type of authoritarianism often leads to human rights abuses, such as censorship, torture, and imprisonment without trial. It is important to remember that while socialism may sound appealing in theory, the reality is that it can quickly lead to a loss of individual freedoms and the violation of basic human rights. Therefore, it is crucial to carefully consider the potential consequences of implementing socialist policies and to prioritize the protection of human rights above all else. 7. Lack of innovation and progress. One of the dangers of socialist authoritarianism is the lack of innovation and progress. In a socialist system, the government controls the means of production and distribution of goods and services. This centralized control can stifle innovation and progress as the government may be more interested in maintaining the status quo rather than taking risks and trying new ideas. Additionally, innovation and progress are often driven by competition, which is restricted in a socialist system. Without competition, there is less incentive to improve and innovate, which can lead to stagnation and a lack of progress. The authoritarian nature of socialist regimes can also contribute to this lack of innovation, as dissenting voices are often silenced or marginalized, preventing new and innovative ideas from being heard. Overall, the combination of socialism and authoritarianism can hinder progress and innovation, leading to a stagnant and less dynamic society. 8. Inequality and poverty. Inequality and poverty are real dangers of socialist authoritarianism. While socialist ideology aims to create a society based on equality and fairness, history has shown that regimes often result in greater levels of inequality and poverty. Socialists often advocate for a redistribution of wealth, but in practice, this can lead to the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few elites who control the government. This can result in a lack of economic mobility for the poor and exacerbate income inequality. Additionally, socialist policies can lead to a lack of economic growth and innovation, further exacerbating poverty. In contrast, free market capitalism has been shown to be a more effective means of reducing poverty and promoting economic growth. Therefore, it is important to be aware of the dangers of socialism and authoritarianism and to promote policies that promote individual freedom and economic prosperity. In conclusion, the dangers of socialist authoritarianism cannot be ignored. The history of countries that have adopted this system is rife with examples of human rights violations, economic collapse, and widespread poverty. Despite the promises of equality and fairness, socialist authoritarianism ultimately leads to a loss of freedom and individual rights. It is important for individuals and societies to be aware of these dangers and to promote systems that uphold individual liberty, democracy, and the rule of law. The lessons of history are clear, and we must heed them in order to build a better future for ourselves and future generations.